And in this video, I'm going to show you the connections of how the George Floyd and what just happened, the George Floyd incident back in 2020 to what happened in right before Elvis's birthday, the night before Elvis's birthday this year. Okay. There was a twin connection. And what do I mean by that? Because, first of all, you know that I'm telling you that Washington State is going to be struck on June 11th, right? And Washington even has a twin because you have Washington, D.C. and Washington State. Washington State is going to be destroyed on June 11th, a part of it. So get out of Washington State before June 11th. And of course, my other prediction is that Trump gets his head wound on August 4th. And that June 11th event connects to Elvis. He's the beast out of the sea. And one of the heads of the beast that rises out of the sea, one of the heads got a head wound and the head wound was healed, and that's Trump on 8/4. So it connects the two predictions, June 11th and August 4th. And Elvis had an identical twin that died at birth, and that's why the replacement twin is Trump. Okay, Elvis, whether Elvis's twin died or sacrificed, who knows? But so it's all about the twin. That's why the Twin Towers fell. And if you watch my live streams, go to the live section of the channel, you'll see all my videos on how 9/11 was connected to Elvis and Pearl Harbor connected to Elvis. It's all for him, everything, all right, for the twin. And this June 11th event and August 4th event is all for Elvis. Now, so there was a twin connection that just happened. Okay, so you had George Floyd back in 2020, all right? And whether it's real or not, I don't care right now. We're not talking about that. So the George Floyd incident, and then this incident that happened just a few days ago, right before Elvis's birthday, was the incident that everyone's protesting about right now, which is the Minneapolis, Minnesota shooting of another law enforcement shooting by ICE. You know what I mean? And George Floyd, he was shot. I mean, not shot. He was supposedly killed by law enforcement. You understand what I'm saying? So you had the twin connections, both in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And why is that important? Because Minneapolis is the Twin City. So you have the Twin Cities, twin, involvement with police and people who were killed, and it was a big story. Okay, and it was the night before Elvis's birthday. The next day is the big story was on Elvis's birthday, January 8th, and Elvis was the identical twin. You understand? Okay, so that's the reason why I'm showing you this. And I've already shown you all the George Floyd connections from years ago when it first happened. But now I'm going to show you, some of it again, but there's some new info too in this, okay? So let's get started. Now, so George Floyd, he was born on 10/14/73, and his death was on 5/25 in 2020, okay? Now, and who else was born on 10/14? Charlie Kirk. And you know what happened to Charlie Kirk. So George Floyd was born on there. Another connection. And why am I bringing up the Charlie Kirk? Because look, from Elvis's death to the day George Floyd died was 9 months, 10 days. So did Charlie Kirk die on 9/10, or am I mistaken? Charlie Kirk died on 9/10, right? And Elvis just turned 91 from 90. Same numbers, right? What I always tell you guys. And also 284 days is 9 months, 11 days on a regular year. So this is 9 months, 10 days because it was a leap year. 284 days is 9 months, 11 days. And that's why 9 months, 10 days is 284, because this fell on a leap year, George Floyd. All right. Anyway, so the point is that it's got the Charlie Kirk death date too. Okay. We're talking about, because he died in 2020, a leap year. Now, And George Floyd's death to August 16th, Elvis's death, is 84 days. And I told you Trump's going to get his head wound on 8-4. All right, Trump's going to get his head wound on 8-4, so that's another connection, okay? Let's stick to the topic, folks. Only talk about what I'm showing in the video. Or it's something to do with the protests that's going on. Okay, so George Floyd, from his death to 6/11 this year, to 6/11 when Washington State gets struck, it's 6 years, 18 days. That's Elvis died on 8/16. It's the same numbers. You see that? So that's another connection. And why does George connect? Because George connects to Washington. Because Washington State is going to be struck on June 11th. George Washington. Do you understand? That's why it's important. Okay? Now, also, George Floyd died on 5/25. If you took the 5th prime and the 25th prime, adds up to 108. Elvis was born on 108. And for the people who know what the 30 is, those are crown numbers. But you ain't gonna know what I'm talking about if you've never watched my videos. But anyway, from George Washington's original birthday, because George Washington has 2 birthdays, 2/11 and 2/22. 2/11, it was his original birthday, which is the 42nd day of the year. And that woman that was supposedly killed by the ICE agents, she's born on 4/2. And Elvis died at the age of 42, and Washington is the 42nd state. So George Washington's original birthday is on 2/11, which is the 42nd day of the year. And from that day to George Floyd's birthday is 8 months, 4 days. And that's the day Trump gets his head wound. You know what I mean? All right. So I know it's kind of convoluted, but it'll get better. Just hold on, okay? So George Floyd died in year 2020, right? And what happened that year on August 4th? On August 4th, you had the biggest explosion that anyone's ever seen, okay? That we can confirm that was real. You know what I mean? And I was born in Beirut, Lebanon. And this Beirut explosion happened on 8/4/2020, and the clock hands would be on 8/4 for the numbers 2020. Military time 2020 would be, the hands would be on the 8 and the 4. Okay? 2020 military time is 8/4. So it's 8/4/2020 is like, it's perfect. It's 8/4 is 8/4. You understand? 8/4 is 2020, the hands. All right? And so also George Floyd died in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The area code is 612. And it's the Twin Cities. And I told you that woman died just right before Elvis's birthday. Elvis was a twin, and it's twin deaths. You understand? And they both happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Anyway, the area code is 612. Trump's head wound is on 8/4, the 216th day of the year. And of course, Obama's born on August 4th, but Trump is the one who gets the head wound on that day, the 216th day. And 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. And Elvis Aaron Presley, his full name equals 216, because it's all about Elvis. It's not about them. It's about Elvis. Okay. They're doing everything for Elvis, because Elvis is the identical. He is the fallen angel. Okay. Now, so we're speaking about Minneapolis, Minnesota, because that's where George Floyd died. And that's where this girl that just died, the twin deaths. You understand what I mean? And it's in the 612 area code. And check this out, the Twin Cities, right? The Minneapolis area code is 612, and St. Paul, its Twin City, is the area code is 651. 612 and 651 adds up to 1263. And the 3 is a crown. I told you. And look, it's got the 216 and June 11th is the 162nd day of the year. So same numbers, just like this. The 162nd day of the year is June 11th. So it's got the 216 and the 162 in the numbers. Okay, June 11th and August 4th. And the reason I'm showing this is because of this. Look, so you have 216, and what's this? See, this, watch. So August 4th is the 216th day of the year. Trump's birthday is 614. 6 times 14 is 84. That's when he gets his head wound. 614 is the 165th day of the year. So why am I showing that? Because look at the numbers. You have 1, 6, and 5. So that's Trump's birthday, 614. Sorry. So 614 is Trump's birthday, 165. See it? 1, 6, and 5. And then August 4th is when he gets his head wound, 216. August 4th. I'm just saying they're in the numbers there, okay? All right. And of course, the letter O is the 15th letter and the 6th letter, and the 156 prime is 911. And the reason I'm saying that because it's the same numbers as 1, 5, and 6 right there. See? So it connects to everything here, you know. Anyway, so what else? Trump is born on 6/14. I told you 6 times 14 is 84. That's when Trump gets his head wound. But 6/14, look, George Floyd's death date in 2020, because it was a leap year, fell on the 146th day of the year. See, it would have been the 145th day, but because it was a leap year, 2020, it was the 146th day. Looks like Trump's birthday, 6/14, 14/6. You see what I mean? And 6 times 14 is 84. Right? Okay, so I'm showing you the 80. Also, it connects to the 84 because 6 times 14 is 84. And from George Floyd's birthday to his death date was 7 months, 12 days. 7 months, 12 days. 7 times 12 is 84. You see? From his birthday to his death date, there's 7 months, 12 days in between. Okay? So another connection to the 84 with George Floyd, you know? Okay? Now, here's something interesting, okay? Pay attention. You got to pay attention. So from the moment that George Floyd was, from the day he was born to the day he died, it was 17,026 days when you add the day. 17,026. You see the 2617 number? You know what that is? That's the word God. See, God equals 2617, 1726. And August 4th is the 216 day of the year, and on a leap year is 217 day of the year. So 216, 217. You see what I mean? And so that's the word God, 17, 17 and 26 with the crown number and the portal. Because the crown is the 3 and the 0, and the O is a portal also. Okay, but look. So that's another connection, because remember, it was 17,026 days from George Floyd birth to George Floyd death. Okay? Now, from George Floyd's death to August 4th, look at this. 220, look at that. 226 with the 3. I told you the 3 is a crown. The W, like the Washington, 226 with a crown, 226 with that, and we're in the year 2026. You understand? August 4th, Trump's head wound day, George Floyd death to his death. Okay, and also it was 2,263 days, right? But look at this. It's 2,263 days is 6 years, 2 months, 11 days. 6 years, 2 months, 11 days. Is 74 months, 11 days. What are these two connections right here? Look. So the prime number, the 26 prime is 101. So you have 2611 without the crown. 2611. Okay? You see that? And you can make the date 611 and 612 and whatever. You know what I'm saying? But and then you have Jesus, which equals 7411, 74 months, 11 days. And that is from George Floyd's death to Trump's head wound, okay? See, it's 2,263 days, which is 6 years, 2 months, 11 days. Okay, and that looks like the 26 prime is 101. 26 is 1, 1, but you know what I mean, without the 0. And then 7411 is Jesus, okay? Now, my light is flickering above me. So anyway, so George Floyd's death to Charlie Kirk's death was 1,935 days. And if you remember earlier, I showed you that from Elvis's death to 525 was 9 months, 10 days. And that was Charlie Kirk's death day. From Elvis's death to 525 was 9 months, 10 days. And now we're looking at from George Floyd's death to Charlie Kirk's death is 1,935 days. Why is that important? Because that's the year Elvis died, 1935. And this is the only year in the 1900s where you can get 216 from prime numbers. Elvis was born in 1935. The 19th prime is 67. The 35th prime is 149, makes 216. And Elvis Aaron Presley equals 216. August 4th is the 216th day of the year. June 11th is the 162 day of the year. The point is, and of course, 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216 because Elvis Aaron Presley is the Antichrist. He's the real Antichrist. Trump is the image of the Antichrist in the flesh. Anyway, so what I'm saying is that Elvis was born in 1935. This is the only year in all of the 1900s where you can get the prime numbers to add up to 216. Okay? So, here's another added bonus here. From Martin Luther King, because, we're talking about black people. So, from Martin Luther King as a black guy being killed to George Floyd, who was a black guy, because, that it was race was involved in these stories. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm showing that. So, from Martin Luther King's death to George Floyd's birth is 20 days. Look at that. And what did I tell you that 2020 is? Military time. 8/4, remember? You see what I'm saying? And for the people who know that 7-3 or 3-7 looks like the letters EL, which means God in Hebrew. That's why Elvis starts with EL, his name. Anyway, but look, see, 20 days in between Martin Luther King Jr. and George Floyd's birth. Martin Luther King, his death date to his birth right here, 2020. Look at that. And didn't George Floyd die in 2020? You see what I'm saying? And from that's within, from the exact death to the exact birth. But what about within the same year from MLK to 10/14? 6 months, 11 days, you see? And I told you that Seattle is in King County. Elvis was known as the King. Martin Luther King died in Memphis, Tennessee, where Elvis lived and died. So the King had the King whacked in Memphis, Tennessee. And Seattle is in King County and is named after Martin Luther King now, that King County. Okay? So you have 6 months, 11 days in between MLK's death and George Floyd's birth, And then you had the 2020 connection, with it too, from the exact birth dates and the death date, And this is just in between the same year, And what else? Hold on here. What do we got here? Before I show you the rest, are you guys following? I only have a little bit left. I only have like 5 cards left. So are you guys okay with this video? So far, are you guys okay with the video? For the people who came late, you're not going to understand. You got to watch from the whole beginning. Okay, so someone's asking me a question about the economy. Look, when the June 11th event strikes, that's going to hurt the economy also. So forget about August 4th when Trump gets his head wound. June 11th is going to crash it too, probably. Who knows? You know, I don't know. And I don't listen. All I know is that money is not going to matter to a true Christian, because eventually when the mark comes out, we're not going to take the mark as Christians. So money's not going to mean nothing because we can't spend the money, even if you have money, you know? So, you know, it's not even in my head, you know, what's going to happen with the economy, you know? I try to warn people, but they don't want to listen. They're not going to listen to me, you know, and it doesn't matter anyway because money's not going to matter anyway, you know? You got to watch from the beginning if you came in late, okay? Now, let me finish this video. I only have, like I said, seven cards left, okay? Let me, and then we'll answer any questions for a few minutes when I'm done. All right. So, remember I told you that the Minneapolis area code is 612, okay, where this happened. This George Floyd incident and this last death of this woman who was also killed in Minneapolis right before Elvis's birthday, the night before. George Bush Sr. Remember, it was George Floyd we're talking about, Minneapolis. George Bush Sr., the father of George Bush Jr. George Bush Sr. is born on 6/12, okay? And the area code is 612, all right? And remember, George Floyd, so that's why it connects. Now, here's another connection. This is all coincidences, I'm sure. George Bush Sr., he was buried on 12/6. He was born on 6/12. You see that? And if you add this up, it's 1818. 1818. That's Elvis's. Elvis had an identical twin born on 1/8. So you have 1818. You understand? And 1818 equals 216. If you look at it, you know, if you look at it like this, you know what I mean? You know, the identical twins were born on 1818 or 8181, like they do in the UK. They say the date, you know, which is my two prediction dates. You understand what I'm saying? So anyway, the point is that George Bush Sr. was buried on 12/6. He was born on 6/12. Now, and remember, I showed you that, you know, George Bush Sr. was buried. What am I even doing? I don't even know what I'm doing right now. So remember, he was buried on 12/6 in the Minneapolis. Why do I have two? I don't even. Oh, he was born on 6/12. Sorry. Yeah, this is Bush being buried on 12/6, and this is the area code being 6/12, and here he's buried on 12/6, and he was born on 6/12. Yeah, I'm confusing myself because the first one was his birth date to the area code. This one was the burial and the birth, and this one was the burial and the area code. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's all connected to 6/12, okay? Or 12/6. That was it, okay? Now, and of course, George, because George Floyd, George Bush, you understand what I'm saying? And also, when was George Bush actually, his death date, George Bush Sr.? He died on 11/30, and he was buried on 12/6. But look, 11/30 to 5/25, George Floyd's death date. If you add the day, it's 5 months, 26 days. If you don't add the day, it's 5 months, 25 days. So it's almost exactly perfect, you know, but you know, when you add the day, it's actually more perfect. But here's interesting. 11/30, the date he died is look at this. 11:30 on the clock, the hands are on the 6 and the 11, see? 6 and 11, 11:30. And also the word Minneapolis equals 127. Remember Pearl Harbor, the anniversary, the 84th anniversary was on 12/7, the 84th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. And from the first of the year to 7/12 is 6 months, 12 days. There's a 6/12, and of course 12 times 7 is 84. And the Pearl Harbor was on 12/7, and the 84th anniversary just passed in 2025 on 12/7. Okay, so there's another connect. Now the last thing I'm gonna show here. Check this out. This is the last two cards. I've shown this before already in the past. George Floyd's death date was on 5/25. His age was 46. He died on 5/25, age 46. How old was JFK when he died? 46 years, 5 months, 25 days. You see that? So JFK was 40. This is something I showed back in years ago. But 46 years, 5 months, 25 days. That's how long JFK lived. And that's exactly the day he died and the age. Look at that. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. You know what I mean? Right? Anyway, any questions before I end the chat? Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be doing another live tonight. I don't think so, okay? I think it's time to give it a rest. So if you have any questions, ask now. If you want to talk about something. Yeah. Yeah, make sure you guys watch from the beginning, and make sure you thumb up the video before you go. All right, I'm gonna leave this video up for. I mean, I don't know how long I'm gonna leave it up, but for a few days. Oh, and by the way, I forgot. That's what I forgot to show. Earlier, I did it, folks. For the people who just came in, I started a video a few minutes before this one, and I couldn't remember what I was supposed to show. Now I remember. That's what the title of the video is all about. Did Donald Trump declare a national emergency? Look at this. I'm telling you, I haven't seen one YouTuber in the truth community even talk about it. It's just weird. I'm serious. I didn't see one. Like you would think, like, I haven't even seen the news mention it, not even once. Look, Trump declares U.S. national emergency to protect the. So right now, who's in control? You know what I mean? What is this? Trump seeks to stop courts because of the Venezuelan thing, right? Did Trump declare a national emergency on January 9th or 10th? Oh, man, I'm trying to get them to say it, because he signed it in. Let me ask that. Did Trump sign a national emergency declaration on January 9th? Here it goes. Oh, man, here we go. I don't know why he doesn't want to say it. Okay. Anyway, he signed it on January 9th, but it didn't go into the news until January 10th, which was yesterday. And I'm just asking you guys, who in here, besides hearing it from me, did you hear it anywhere else within the truth community? How come not one single truth about this? It's weird, right? Can somebody tell me if you saw it on anybody else's channel? Because I've mentioned it already 2 days now, yesterday and today. And not one YouTuber has done a video about it. No, I'm not coming back on tonight. No. So this is going to be my last video today. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because for the people who don't know, that I might as well just add this to the mix since we're here. Let me see if I have the video here. Here it is. So let me set this up beforehand. So when Trump got his ear clipped on 7/13, he got his ear clipped on 7/13. His supposed ear clipped. And somebody supposedly died that day too with the CC initials, 33CC. And oh, by the way, that girl who supposedly died, did she die between the streets 33 and 34? Supposedly. There's another incredible coincidence. But there was other things that we could get into, but forget that. But so when Trump got his supposed ear clip, let me tell you what happened. All right. He after he got his ear clipped, his supposed ear clip, he started doing the fight, fight, fight. What was he referencing? I said that the first day it happened. I said this idiot is referencing Gabby Giffords, who got the head wound. Okay. And I've already done all those videos. You can go watch it. I'm not going to get into the details of it. But Gabby Giffords got her head wound on Elvis's birthday. And on that same day, you had the beast quake in Seattle. It's all connected, okay? But why am I bringing this up? Because he went fight, fight, fight. And that's the woman that got the head wound, Gabby Giffords, okay? The GG, you know, okay? Which I've talked about before. If you seen JFK's license plate, I've shown it in the past. JFK's license plate had the GG on it. Okay? And he got the head wound. Do you understand? Anyway, so because I just saw it recently on somebody else's channel, but I showed that years ago about JFK's license plate because the GG is Elvis's death year, 7/7. But anyway, and I actually showed more connections to that too, because it said 77. I mean, it said GG and then it said 300. The 3 is a crown, and the 300 is from the day Elvis died. 300 days after that is June 11th. But forget that right now. So when Trump got his head, when he's referencing the fight, 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 which is FFF, which is 666, which is the Gabby Giffords incident. After she got her head wound, she comes out of her coma. 4 days later, Obama visits her. She wakes up from a coma, and then she goes fight, fight, fight for like for eternity. She's going to be doing the fight, fight, fight. Anyway, in hell, when she goes to hell, she's going to be doing the fight, 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 that creature. And she's married to a twin, that Gabby Giffords, Mark Kelly. Okay? And like I say, you got to watch my videos. Anyway, so that's what he was referencing, the woman who got the head wound, because that's what Trump's going to get, a head wound. That's why he was doing the fight, fight, fight. Okay? Let me catch up to the chat before I finish what I'm going to say here. Oh, so it wasn't 33rd Street? I don't know. They said it was between 33 and 34. I don't know. Yeah, Ephesians 6:11 is put on the whole armor of God. You know what I mean? And 6:12, yeah, it's 6:11, 6:12. You know, I told you anything. Look, anytime you have a date, the date before matters and the date after. So if you're picking, like I'm telling you, 6:11 Washington State gets struck. 6:10 matters. 6:12 matters because 6:11 connects to it. It's a chain link. They're connected to each other. Okay. Hold on. Yeah, that's what I said. She got her head wound, Gabby Giffords, on Elvis's birthday. And she was referencing, Trump was referencing the fight, fight, fight. Okay? She got her head wound on Elvis's birthday. She went into a coma. 4 days later, she came out of the coma, just like Trump. Trump's going to get his head wound on 8/4, come back 4 days later. Not come back, but open his eyes 4 days later. All right? And, of course, he's going to get his head wound on Obama's birthday. That's the point, okay? And because Obama was the one who was the president at the time, and he went and visited her, and she woke up 4 days later. It's all perfect. Anyway, so So Trump is referencing the head wound because with the fight, fight, fight thing that he yelled after he got his supposed ear clipped. And then what does this guy do? He goes back to Butler, Pennsylvania. He goes back to Butler, Pennsylvania. And when does he go back there? Look at this. This is what he does when he goes back to Butler, Pennsylvania. And by the way, Butler, Pennsylvania's initials, BP, is 216, or PB is 16-2, which is back to where we started. See? Oh, I was showing, yeah, there it is right there. PB is 16-2 or 216, the letters. And the birth of the identical twins is, like I said, if you say the date backwards, it's 8-1. If you say the date like we do in America is 1-8. So it's 216 or 16-2, which is August 4th, June 11th. You understand? The birth of the identical twins. I can go into a whole thing. All this has to do with this. All these cards, okay? But I'm not going to show it here. You got to watch my videos. But anyway, the point is that this is what happened. This is what happened on when Trump went back to Butler, Pennsylvania. Get it? BP, the 216, and which is August 4th, the 216th day of the year, because everything's about the head wound. And what did he do when he went back there? This is something I've shown 100 times on the channel. So this is Trump when he went back to Butler, Pennsylvania. And what did he do, this clown? I can't even get it to focus.
This time, it is 6/11, 12 weeks to the minute that the shooting began. I would like to ask everyone to join me in a moment of silence.
So this guy sets off 4 bells. Get it? Like 4 days. 4 days. And why am I saying that? Because listen to what he says again. What's the first thing he says? Look. Where is it?
This time, it is 6/11, 12 weeks to the minute that the shooting began.
So he said 6/11, and then he says 12 weeks. You know what 12 weeks? It's like saying 6/12 also, right? 6/11, and then he said 12 weeks. What is 12 weeks? 84 days. See, he went back to Butler, Pennsylvania, 84 days. Remember? I told you he was referencing the head wound with the Gabby Giffords fight, fight, fight. It was an attempted assassination, and it supposedly hit his ear. And what does he say? The first thing?
This time, it is 6/11, 12 weeks to the minute that the shooting began. This time, it is 6/11, 12.
6/11, 12 weeks. Look at that. So you said both my predictions in there. 6/11 and the 84 days is 12 weeks. Okay? Do you understand how impossible that is? Because you know why he said 6/11? You know why he said 6/11? Because, let's see if these guys will say it. What was the exact time when Trump got his ear shot? See, these people won't even tell you, but it says 6/11. See? 6/11. You're seeing everything backwards, by the way. This is my right hand. I write with my right hand, but my phone shows everything backwards when I'm showing it like this. So you got, yeah. What time was it on the clock when Trump got shot in the ear? I don't know why they won't say it. What was the time when Trump got his ear clipped? Here. Let's see if they say it. No, they didn't say it. It just wrote it again. Yeah, see, 6:11. Anyway, so do you see what I mean? You think that's a coincidence, huh? And the bells are, they're warning. It's warning bells. It's death. Okay? They're warning you of death, man. Okay? Yeah, he said a moment of silence, then he put all the bells. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Enchilada. Let me hold on. Someone in the chat said something. I want to make sure I put that. What did you write? A bell. Yeah. Yeah, because it's the name Vance, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've talked about those Bible verses that you're talking about. That's all about Elvis. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, the 45, right? Listen, I've done videos on Vance because I told you guys that Trump would pick somebody from Ohio because that's where Trump's going to get his head wound on August 4th in Ohio. And he picked Vance, who's from Ohio. I already told everyone he would pick someone from Ohio before he ever chose anyone. Hold on. Yeah, and JFK Jr., exactly. I mentioned that before in the past. JFK Jr. had a magazine called George, you know, and he got supposedly taken out too, you know. Just, I'm sure, just another, you know, yeah, we believe it, you know. All right, folks. What time is it? I don't know. What else can we talk about? Listen, we can go on all day with the connections, you know. Is there any added stuff I can show? Yeah, there's a few other things here. Oh, yeah, I already showed that. What am I doing? No, I don't want to even show this. All right, I'll show this. One last thing here. So, so George Floyd, from George Floyd's death to this girl's death was 2,054 days from the day that this Minneapolis woman was killed right before Elvis's birthday that night. It's 2,054 days. And that's like 9/11. Look at that. 9th prime, 11th prime is 2054, you see? And 9/11 is the 254th day of the year. You know what I mean? So that's all. I mean, you know, and of course, you know, right now, actually starting from yesterday, it was 8,888 days from 9/11. I showed that in the other video already. So watch, if you're new to the channel, go watch all my live streams. That's where all my recent videos are, under the live section, okay? All right? And just only watch the videos that have to do with Elvis, Trump, my 2 predictions of Washington State and Ohio, and June 11th, August 4th, okay? So just don't watch any of the other videos that you see with having anything to do with this, okay? Just watch the videos that pertain to my predictions of June 11th and August 4th. But anyway, watch the last 7 months of videos that have to do with my videos. Okay. And somewhere down the line, make sure you watch my Super Bowl video. Yeah. Now that one you need to watch, because I predicted that Seattle or San Francisco would go to the Super Bowl. So watch that. And by the way, do not gamble. Okay. We do not promote any kind of degeneracy here. Okay. Degeneracy? Is that a word? Degeneracy. Whatever. Yeah, you can ask a question. Go ahead. And yes, pray. Everyone pray for this person in the chat who's asking for prayers. And also everybody pray for everyone in the chat, but especially for the person who's asking for prayers. Okay? We'll definitely pray for him. Pray for him, yeah. Oh, pray for her, sorry. Pray for her. Yeah, but please tell me what's your question so we can end this video. Because it was supposed to be a short video, but I'm prolonging it. Oh, okay. Well, somebody's asking, is the August 4th event going to be real or fake? Well, let me just tell you this. If Trump does have a double, I would not, even a stand-in double. Let's say it's not even a twin. Let's say he's either got a twin or a double. I would not put it past them to do it. Okay? But do I believe it's going to be real? Probably not. But like I said, I wouldn't put it past them to do it and then put in the real Trump. You understand what I'm saying? But here's the thing. Even the real Trump, I believe that they're going to do some kind of satanic ritual, which means they have to actually put Trump to sleep and have Elvis somehow enter him. Because that's what they're going to do. Elvis is going to enter Trump like Satan entered Judas. But Satan somehow enters Trump, I think, at that moment. And they become one. And he brings him back to life with Elvis in him. You know what I mean? They're going to do some kind of death, some ritual. I don't know how to explain it, man. Don't ask me. Either on August 4th when he gets his head wound, or when he wakes up 4 days later on 8/8. Yeah. And nobody knows. Yeah, nobody knows how they're going to do it. They could put him in a coma, like in an induced coma, and actually stop his heart for that one moment while he enters him. Because see, the spirit can't enter unless he's dead. You know what I mean? I think. That particular because he has to be the abomination. What is the abomination? Because the See, when demons come into you when you're alive, because everybody has demons at one time or another. You need to get them out of you. You know what I'm saying? And these demons, but with this one, he has to be an abomination. Where literally this guy's a walking zombie. So what's in him is death. Death is in him. Okay? I don't know how to explain this. It's not the same as somebody having demons. This is a literal. It says the abomination of desolation. It's going to be an empty vessel. There's no more Trump in there. What you're seeing is, going to be probably Elvis inside of him. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. Don't listen. I don't know every detail. I'm just throwing stuff out there. You know, all I know is my two predictions are Holy Spirit led. The the Elvis June 11th connection, and of course Elvis connects to August 4th too. But Trump is the one who gets a head one on August 4th. So June 11th, Washington State, get out. All right, it's the B side of the sea event. It's the biblical B side of the sea on June 11th. And the biblical B side of the sea, what does it say? Look, let's hurry up, and I got 5 more minutes. I want to. Revelation 13. Hold on. So let me show you what I mean. I'm not gonna read every word of it, but let me just show you what it says. Okay. So this is John in the book of Revelation. It says, then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Okay? Now it describes the beast. Okay? Forget about that for a moment. All right? Then it says, the dragon gave him his power, his throne, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world marveled and followed the beast. So what I'm saying is that biblical beast out of the sea, which is Elvis, one of the heads of the beast that rises on June 11th, it says that one of the heads has a mortal head wound that was healed, and the world marveled after that beast. So that is Trump, because what better head than the one that compares himself to Elvis? Trump is always comparing himself to Elvis. You know what I mean? Okay. No, I've never heard of that movie. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I'm trying to tell you. That I don't know the exact details of every single thing. I only know that what I just said about the biblical beast out of the sea. So, and you can't stop biblical prophecy. It is going to happen 100%. If you watch my live streams and you watch the last 7, 8 months, you will see without a shadow of a doubt that I'm proving it. Okay. It just was, I just didn't know the year it was going to happen. But the dates are perfect, and the players involved are perfect, and the places. The players, the places, and the dates are perfect. It's just a year I didn't know. And that's because, God wanted me to calculate the number of the beast, which takes wisdom. How do you get wisdom? Through experience, through time. That's how I got my wisdom. All right. So that's why I needed to understand what I was saying. I was crawling, then I started to walk, then I ran, now I'm at the finish line. You understand? Who's laughing? Who's laughing? What are you talking about? Who's laughing? Because you're about to get banned. What are you talking about? Who's laughing? There's no joke here. What are you talking about? All right, you're gone. I don't know who this person is. I don't know. This is serious stuff, you know. I don't got time for nonsense. Just ban some fool. Yeah, I have no idea what he's talking about. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Anyway, folks, all right, last 2 minutes. So if you have anything to say it now. I can't show you every connection, folks. You have to watch my live streams for that. Go watch the live section of this channel for all the connections. No, the point is for the mark to be, that's what they want. The mark is going to come out eventually. Okay? And once Trump heals from his deadly wound, it's going to take some time for him to heal. And then he comes back into power. But by that time, the process is already in. You know, all hell's breaking loose already. And then he's going to come in once he comes back into power. That's when you have the 42 months. And I told you, Elvis died at age 42 and Washington's the 42nd state. You know, all the 42 connections. I've explained that over the years. All right. Anyway. Yeah. All right, folks. God bless everyone. Jesus is God. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm not doing another live stream tonight. So I'll see you guys tomorrow between 12 and 15 hours from now, okay? All right. Pray for everyone in the chat. God bless everyone. Jesus is God. End the video. And make sure you thumb up the video and comment under the video. End the video.